So I'll hold her
Okay.
so I can help settle her a little bit. So very friendly, very excited. So fill me in.
Yeah, just so she's about a year old.
Okay.
Actually, I guess exactly like a year old. She was born in February last year.
Okay. Oh, like me. Well, I wasn't born last year. I was born quite a few years ago, but I'm February.
So I've been taking some classes with her, you know, like group classes.
Okay.
Where we work on like commands and, you know, we work on some like polite greetings, like that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And, you know, I mean, I try to take her on walks or like around people, and I feel like that is where my problem is just it's really hard to kind of control her because she seems to want to like run up and say hi to anybody and everybody all the time.
How long has she been that way, would you say?
I feel like she was since she was a puppy.
She's always been very like active whenever she's out, but I don't know. So it's not in a way. It's not like suddenly she's like
Yeah,
this.
she's just always been very social to like, you know, if she sees someone like across the street, she just wants to go, and it's mostly with people, not even so much dogs. It's just she just really likes people, I guess.
Sure.
Especially too if, you know, I think my concern is if they're kind of paying attention to her, like kids, especially if they kind of look like, oh, look the dog, and then she just kind of like wants to go. So I feel like I just need some help in understanding how to like rein that in, you know.
Calm her down. There we go.
Besides that, there's no issues with her at all. Like it was very easy to potty train her. She knows commands at home, like.
You know, she's a good inside dog.
Yeah.
Very obedient, you know.
She doesn't bark too much. I mean.
I guess there's the typical, like, if you get home, she'll meet you at the door with a shoe and just kind of dance around a little while, but she calms down really quick. I think her trigger is being outdoors.
And strangers.
Sure. Yeah.
So especially, but I think you were saying that if you take her out, let's say you went to Oakbrook Mall or something, she's crazy at first, but once she's been there a while, doesn't she calm down?
She does calm down a little bit, but it's like if I, you know, kind of like pick up my pace with her and kind of like hold her super tight, like put up her collar next to her ears and kind of like walk her real tight, then she can kind of focus and, you know, walk.
But you're doing a lot of like
basically
work there to
she's not being calm on her own.
On her own, she would like go crazy. So
okay. With the my wife's upstairs with my son, so that's what you hear. With the training, was it like positive reinforcement based type stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
Did they introduce any kind of training collars or no?
No. We do have a choke collar.
Like the pinch one?
Yeah.
The prong collar?
The prong collar, and you know, I've used it a couple of times, and I mean, I guess it works, but I feel like I don't know.
Was that something you picked up on your own, or was that like, okay?
I picked it up on my own just because I thought maybe it would help kind of like hold her back, or you know, kind of like control, like. But I don't use it that often. Okay. So.
How does she respond to it?
I feel like she's pretty good with it, but I just haven't used it that much, like a handful of times.
No, that's fine. Just sometimes with dogs, when they're exposed to the prong collar, they'll like panic or they'll freak out. It's nothing bad. Like it's like I don't say it's not an uncommon reaction.
Right.
You know, I'm just trying to see what you've attempted.
Yeah.
You know.
She's fine with it. I think I feel like she realizes it's there, and then she does kind of like behave better just by having it on her.
What led you to the prong collar?
Maybe I just like looked it up or tried to find a way to, you know, like
calm her down.
Yeah, and I was like, maybe this would help, you know.
Do you know why it looks that way? The prong collar.
What do you mean?
So you're talking about the spiky one, right?
Yeah.
Do you know why it looks that way? Why it's designed that way?
Oh, because it's like a choke collar, but then the prongs will go in, right?
Yeah, right.
So it's meant to mimic a dog bite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because dogs would bite each
Oh,
other.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
good
and
point.
that's more as FYI for you.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times clients they put the collars on their dogs. I've had clients, even trainers, tell them to put the collar on their dog and not explain to them like why it
what
looks
it
that
is and
way,
why it is.
and how it works. You know, which I think is obviously very important. So you can see how she's starting to settle down now, right? And she's going to escalate again. Like part of the issue here is overstimulation. Okay. And then due to that overstimulation, I also sense that she's getting anxious. So overstimulation is like the brain's inability to relax. And that causes a baseline level of stress because they're just unable to relax, right? And then eventually anxiety can come out because anxiety is a stress response. So if the dog is overwhelmed and overstimulated and they can't settle, they become stressed, and then the result of the stress, they can become anxious. So now you got an overstimulated dog who is anxious, okay? So I took the leash and I just did a few things with her to start settling her down. So you see this licking here, right? This is more so because she's getting bored, okay? Yeah, so this is all starting to be boredom. See that leg twitch? Yeah, all this is boredom, okay? This is the brain. So I've done some things to help calm her down. She's an overstimulated dog. She's not used to being made to calm down. And then, yep, we see this, right? So this is what I mean by like the brain's inability to relax, is that it constantly needs to be doing something, okay? The more I would have her, or the longer I would have her, the more and more she would start to calm down because I put boundaries on the brain. So this is frustration because she doesn't like that I'm telling her to sit still. Go. Because she wants to do something.
Yeah.
Okay? This is all normal stuff. So if another dog did not like her behavior, that dog would nip or bite her.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't make that dog aggressive. That's just how dogs communicate. So like just now when I was when she jumped up, right? And she got frustrated, you saw her kind of put her mouth around the leash there, right? That's due to frustration. So dogs are very mouth-based creatures. They correct each other using their mouths. They'll initiate play using their mouths. They play using their mouths. They show affection using their mouths, right? They use their mouths for like everything. So the prong collar is meant to mimic a dog bite so that we can have some kind of active communication. Of course, prong collar is a great tool. It's a very effective tool. It just requires a bit of technical skill to use correctly, okay? The other thing that can happen with the prong collar is that in some cases it won't match a dog's intensity, okay? So every dog is different, but let's say I'm working with a client that has a reactive dog. That's a dog that lunges and barks on the leash, right? And it could be a German Shepherd. And they'll go, oh, I got this dog a prong collar. Even when I correct them with a prong collar, like it won't stop the reactivity. And I go, because the dog's level of reactivity is greater than the level of correction that you can administer with the prong collar, if that makes sense, right? Because we have to be able to match and or be higher than the intensity of the behavior. So that's where other training tools come into play. So prong collar, I'm all for it. It's a great tool. But if you don't know how to use it or use it correctly, you're going to just be at a standstill. Okay.
Right. That's why I haven't used it much because I feel like I'm not sure if I'm doing it right.
Sure. No,
So,
and now
yeah.
that's good, you know, because I do get clients that come having already used correctional tools and then be doing it incorrectly, and then like, well, now we got to fix things because the dog is like does not know what's going on. Okay. Were you say something?
Oh no, I said yeah.
Okay. So so I calmed her down a little bit. 5 minutes passed. She gets stimulated again. I spent about a minute de-escalating her, and now we get her laying down again, right? The longer and longer I have her, the more and more she's going to start becoming passive, okay? Part of this is just good handling skills and knowing what to do. With you, you already have an established relationship, so it's not going to be as easy for you. And I don't, I mean, I cover stuff like this, but like this is more, it's simple once you know how to do it, but it's difficult to teach the average dog owner how to do correctly, okay? So this is the stimulation. Good, you relax her, and then she'll probably buck around a little bit, and I'll relax her, and then she'll lay back down again. Before booking this consult, did you research on the methods that I use or the tools that I use?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I looked pretty like in depth in your website, like
Perfect.
different
So-
prices and different things you offer, like the daycare and then the
Board and train.
individual classes, like the different 12-week, 9-week, whatever.
Beautiful, perfect, okay.
And then the shock collar, or not the shock,
E-collar, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I looked.
So do you know what the e-collar is? Like what the technology is?
I'm assuming it's just like I'm picturing like an electric fence collar that
Yes.
you have like a remote with it though,
Yes, except
instead
you
of-
would control it, exactly. Whereas the electronic fence, there's like a a line, right? There's a territory line that they cannot pass, and if they pass it, it turns on the collar. Electronic fences operate a little bit more harshly because it's meant to keep a dog in, right? So they usually have like maybe 10 settings, and the jumps between those settings is fairly high. If let's say 10 is the max on the fence collar, whatever, ours is 127. So 10 and 127 are the same.
Oh, okay.
But I just have 117 more divisions, right? Usually people think it's 10 and then 117 more. I go, no, no, no. No, we're not trying to fry the dog. Okay? Exactly. And it's a muscle stimulator.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not electricity running to the dog's body or anything like that. You know, when we hear the word electronic fence or electronic collar, that's usually
electric fence.
Exactly. That's what people are usually thinking, like, oh, it's electrocution. I go, no, it's fueled by electricity, whatever, but it's not electrocution. It's a muscle stimulator. So if you've ever been to a chiropractor or physical therapist and you've had TENS therapy done, it's the muscle, the machine that moves the muscles.
Yeah.
Yep. Have you done that?
No, I haven't done it, but I know what you're
familiar with it? Exactly. So that's like e-collar. It's just a miniaturized version of a TENS unit. Okay.
Yeah.
And I even have a video on my website. Maybe you came across it, where it's like me going like pretending I'm being shocked, and I'm comparing a TENS unit side by side with the electronic collar, and they feel very much identical, except the way a TENS unit operates is different versus an e-collar. Because a TENS unit is meant to like relax muscle tension or break up scar tissue built on muscles. It's meant to relax, right? Or ease back pain, things like that. Whereas electronic collar, it's momentary, right? I'm only using it when I need to correct the behavior I don't want, or maybe I'm trying to train a behavior I want, like a sit command or what have you.
Okay.
We're using it momentarily, but then once the dog gives us what we're looking for, it would then stop. Whereas with the TENS unit, it would continue because its job is to like relax muscle tissue and all that stuff. Okay, so a lot of times people come in thinking like, oh, like you're going to shock the dog, and I'm like, no, it's not electricity like that. It's a centralized current that only stimulates the muscles that it's making contact with. So if the collar is here, I'm not feeling anything in my leg. Okay.
Right.
And I like to think of it as a bite on the button. So like the prong collar, right? The prong collar is meant to mimic a dog bite because that's how dogs communicate with each other. The e-collar, in my opinion, when conditioned correctly, a dog can learn to interpret similar to a dog bite. So now we have active communication, right? So like let's say we're at a dog park, and let's say she were to be playing, and maybe she's not reading a dog's signal. Maybe the dog's done playing and it's like trying to avoid, but she's like, continue to play with me, right? So she's not seeing the signal. The other dog is saying, I don't want to play with you anymore. So I could use the e-collar in that moment to correct her on behalf of that dog to teach her to disengage and leave the dog alone, right? So now I have communication even off the leash in a distracting environment, because that's what that dog would do, right? If she continued to pursue that dog and that dog got annoyed, she may possibly that dog may possibly nip and or bite your dog to say, I'm done with you, okay?
Yeah. I just want to make a comment real quick. I mentioned I go to like training classes, group classes and stuff, and I was told like not to take her to a dog park because how friendly she is with people that like if she jumps on someone, another dog might
protect.
Yeah, think that she's trying to like, like attack the owner and then might get aggressive towards her. And so they were like, honestly, I wouldn't take her to a dog park.
Yeah.
But they mean it in the context where don't take her to a dog park now until you set some boundaries.
I mean, like
so you got control over the behavior.
Yeah,
and stuff.
she was like, it could be dangerous. If,
that actually has happened to a client where it was her dog actually. So it was another person's dog at a dog park, and their dog jumped on her to be pet.
Yeah.
And then her own dog went after that dog as a guarding behavior.
Right.
Yeah. So it is possible. I also don't recommend dog parks, but not so much because like your dog's energy, more that like there are dogs that go to the dog park that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Including aggressive dogs. Like you'd be surprised. Like it's more often than you think that a person brings an aggressive dog to a dog park, the dog attacks the dog, and then they just take their dog and leave and just like disappear.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate,
like
but it happens.
Yeah.
Being in the dog training world, in the dog world in general, like you just hear these kind of horror stories. So I always encourage people, like if you have a friend with a dog, a family member with a dog, like that they can play with it, like those are typically the best ways to go about it.
Yeah.
Dog park, I did a long time ago because I was trying to get clients and stuff like that. But now, like, I wouldn't go to a dog park. I don't recommend it. At the end of the day, tell everybody your dog, your rules. If you got her trained, you're like, yeah, she's a really good dog. I want to take her to the dog park. We'll go for it.
Yeah.
So Question on any of that stuff so far in regards to like the remote collar?
No. Does it have like a warning? Can you do a warning, or is it always like the
stim?
Yeah.
Yes. So we always
do
do
like
stim.
Okay.
So the reason why we don't do warnings is not to be like exaggerating, whatever, but warnings can kill a dog. And what I mean by that is, let's say she's running towards the street, right? And you do a recall, but she's used to you repeating the command and then doing like the warning tone, right? Is it creates delay between the command and the action. So now if it's repeat tone stim, you have like a 2 to 3 second delay now. So now when you call the dog and you're like, uh-oh, she's running towards the street, I need her to run back to me now with no delay, right? She's gonna be in the street already. So we use stim for everything because the dog, whenever given a command, should respond immediately. There should never be a delay. There should never be the need to repeat. It's always a give the command, the dog performs it. Yeah. The other reason why we don't do warnings is people are inclined to do more and more warnings because they don't want to stim the dog.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I wouldn't mind.
Like, just get it done, right? It's like a Band-Aid,
Alright.
rip it off.
Yeah, just wondering. Okay.
So, and it doesn't, you remoting the dog doesn't ruin the relationship, doesn't ruin the dog. People always worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because we're not doing it with, one, the intent to harm, but I always tell everybody, we always correct things immediately because usually what happens is people put it on the dog to make the right decision. And then they get upset that the dog didn't make the right decision, and now they're frustrated, and then they're upset, right? And now they bring in emotional baggage to the correction. And I tell everybody, that's what creates the problems. It's the shouting, it's the frustration, it's the negative energy, not the correction itself.
Right.
I've had dogs where I've corrected them at max power, and and everything's calm. But what they did warranted a very harsh correction. So I'll do that, and you'll see them take the correction, but then like, okay, like I guess I shouldn't have done that, you know?
Yeah.
But the moment we bring in shouting, the moment we bring in negative energy, that's what's going to create emotional baggage. Okay. But yes, I want no delays in the dog's response to my commands because one day when it's like, oh, I really need you to listen now, but they're used to like being given an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
It's going to work
Gotcha.
against you right there. Yeah. People don't think about it that way,
Yeah.
but then once I explain it, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Good question. Other questions? How did you find us? How did you hear about us?
I was actually, trying to take her on a walk, somewhere in Lincoln Park, I think. And some lady came up to me, like she had a dog with her that was off leash, like walking around, and she came up to me and she's like, oh, cute, can I pet her? And then she was like just jumping on her and going crazy. And so she kind of said like, oh, we had the same problem with this one. And then she recommended you.
Do you remember the dog? Do what it looked like?
It's like a white dog. It was like maybe a lab or something.
I wonder if it was Was it a bigger dog?
Yeah.
Was the lady blonde?
Yeah, I think so.
A little chunky? Older lady?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Because that sounds like Nash. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I got her name
Yeah,
or
that's okay.
something, but I didn't.
I train a lot of dogs in that area.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one dog that I remember that kind of fits that description.
Yeah.
He was a lab mix too.
Yeah.
So, okay. What are your goals? Obviously, we have controlling the energy, right? Kind of calming it down. Obedience-wise, or like, if you could have the life that you could hit with your dog, like, what would that look like?
Just kind of feeling like in control, like feeling that comfortable that she knows to listen to me, rather than like, just doing her own thing when she gets excited.
Sure.
Just kind of like understanding what techniques I need to do so that she knows I'm kind of like in charge. Because I feel like we're good with that at home, like I said, and stuff. But when we're out in public, it kind of goes out the window.
Yes.
So, I just kind of want to improve on my behavior and like hers.
Okay.
Be able to take her out, for a walk in the city or whatever.
Okay.
Take her out to a restaurant.
Restaurants, okay.
Not be worried that if I'm not looking at her and like a kid comes up to her, like she's not gonna jump.
Sure.
Just kind of that she's calm.
I gotcha.
I think that's really what I'm trying to.
So obedience-wise, we need obviously to be able to walk on a leash. We need to be able to be still for a bit, like if we're at a restaurant. I'm going to assume recall, which is come when called, right? So if you wanted her to run around off leash at a park, you could. Now, one thing to note would be, we can correct the jumping, all that stuff, that's not a problem, right? But like, let's say somebody approached her and they were very excited, right? It's going to give her energy and then she's going to respond likewise. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not that we can't correct it. It's not that we can't teach the dog not to do that behavior. It's just that the dog is responding to what they're being given. So that's the environment working against you, in my opinion, right? So those are things that we'd have to, quote unquote, force to teach her how to behave more, or how to ignore the energy to a degree, right?
Yeah.
And we can't fully eliminate excitement. Like, she's going to be excited, but it's not going to be over the top excitement. It's going to be more passive excitement, right? So maybe she's wiggling and maybe she's walking through their legs, but she's not like jumping on them type of stuff, right? So, but you're not ever going to fully eliminate the excitement, like, you know, just like with humans, when we feel emotions, we can't, you know, we can tell ourselves to not feel a certain way, but you're still going to feel that way, right?
Yeah.
But as people, you can kind of do that on your own, whereas for dogs, they'll do it if you have the ability or the means of communicating to them to not to do it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So like your prong collar. So let's say someone went to pet her and you had the prong collar on her and she jumped up, you could technically correct with the prong collar, as another dog, right, would bite her to go like, don't do that. Whether or not she respects the correction is a completely different thing, right? Because we have to worry about intensity. Is the intensity matching her behavior? And then we also have to worry about like our skill level, right? Most people, when they use a prong collar to correct it, don't know how to do it correctly. It does take some time to develop, which is why I do e-collar, because we don't have to worry about skill. All you have to do is press a button. Okay, as long as it's the correct setting, you press the button, she's going to feel it, she's going to respond. Okay? Other questions?
In general with walking, let's say she's on a collar, let's say it's this collar or the prong collar. Like, I guess if there is somebody coming or a dog coming or something and she wants to get excited and go, like, this is just something I never was told to do it, but it always seemed like if she's wanting to pull away, she can't tell the difference between a correction and it's just stopping her from going. So should you do something? I always used to like 1, 2 quick tugs, so she can tell the difference between it choking her because she wants to go or it's an actual me 1, 2. Is that like, so when it comes to collar training, I guess, or having her on a leash, like what are some, is there a best practice when it comes to something like that?
That's a very good question.
Like how can she tell the difference about who's at the end of the leash and the signal you're giving her? You know what I mean?
Yes. No, so you're completely right. So what if I were to still be using prong collar, right? What people don't see is what you're describing, right?
Right.
So what I would do is I would move into the dog to create the slack, right? And then do the quick firm pop.
Just a quick.
To create the correction. But you're right. If the leash is taut and it's already on the dog's neck and there's tension, and you just tug, it's just tension on tension.
Yeah, I can't tell what the difference between it
there has to be a
or
gap. Yeah, and that's what I mean, like about the skill thing, right? Is I can see it in my head, I explain it, and I know exactly what I'm talking about. But then for someone who doesn't know dog training, they're like, what is he talking about? Like they can't envision it, right? And even when I have demonstrated to clients, they're like, what did you do? I'm like, well, I did this, and they're like, what? Like they don't compute because they're not a dog trainer.
Right.
So that's why prong collars. I only like my client before you has a 140-pound Great Dane. Yeah. She's on a prong collar with an e-collar because she needs as much leverage and control as possible. Most of the dogs that I train are just purely on e-collar. Okay. But that's a good question. For now, what you could do is keep her still. Like if you're trying to walk and correct at the same time, like it's not going to work. Okay. Right. The best you could do is step to the side.
And you stop.
Stop, and you're popping the collar in an attempt to get her to not lunge and jump at them. Right. Let's say you do that. Let's say you even do it correctly, and she still lunges and jumps at them. Then that tells me the intensity of the correction is not enough to deter
matching what she's doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where tools like e-collar come into play. Okay. Is that regardless of the behavior, as long as I have the correct collar for the dog, I'm going to disrupt the behavior. I'm going to stop it. Okay. And I mean, to give you an extreme example, I've had a handful of dogs throughout the years that were very aggressive, with the exception of one. and they were big, large, 130, 150 pound dogs that needed 2 e-collars, okay, because 1 e-collar wasn't stopping the aggression. So I tell the client, I'm like, and you'll see them, we call it overriding, where they're aggressive and you'll see the collar going off and they just do not care about it because they're adrenalized, right? It's like, if you're in a fight and you get punched, you don't really feel it. But afterwards, you're like, oh, wow, like you got me in the jaw, right?
Yeah.
Same thing for the dog. When they're under a lot of stress, it overrides physical discomfort. So we have to make the physical discomfort happen so the dog can learn, like, maybe I should stop doing what I'm doing. So we get a second collar, we pair it to the system, they both go off at the same time. And now I drop the number and I work my way back up again because now I have 2 points of pressure. And now I can stop the behavior at 80 as opposed to being completely maxed out and the dog overriding it because now there's more discomfort coming through, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Most dogs, 99.99% of dogs, it's 1 collar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when my specialty is
Hopefully not
aggression,
Right.
so that's why I've seen crazy stuff.
Okay.
So the first thing that we always do in a case like this is leash walking. Okay, leash pulling and leash reactivity are the 2 most common things that I deal with as a dog trainer. Okay, so the first thing that we teach is the heel command, and it addresses both problems from the start. Okay, the other thing about teaching heel is it tends to fix about 70% of problems. Right, clients will show up and they'll have a laundry list of problems, and I go, okay, it sounds like 100 things, but really it's like 10 things being outletted in different ways. Right? So then we do the heel exercise. We add some structure and discipline to the walk. And then they'll come back the next class. Like, Jesse, like, my dog stopped chewing on the furniture. My dog stopped whining in the house. My dog stopped being hyperactive in the home. Like, my dog seems calmer overall, right? You start to see just a shift in behavior. So we always cover heel first. 1, because of that, it fixes most problems.
Yeah.
2, in order for a dog to become conditioned to the collar and understand it, they have to be exposed to it regularly, right? People tend to think of like prong collar and e-collar as a last resort. They tend to think of it as, okay, now my dog's being really bad, and now I'm going to use it, right? But for me, I use it all the time, regularly, and that's what helps the dog learn to understand it. Plus, we expect to see stress because it's a disciplinary tool, right?
Right.
So if she's getting stressed about it, it's okay. She just needs to be exposed to it more in order to get over the stress of the collar. Whereas most people, when they see the dog go under stress, they tend to want to do less of the thing that's stressing them out, right? But that doesn't help the dog. So we always start with heel first. You would show up. So if we're doing in person, you show up, you bring your dog, you have the collar that I recommended, right? And I coach you through everything. I very rarely, if ever, have to touch the dog. Okay, so I'm coaching you through it. So it's hands-on, all for you. I don't have anything to do with it, so you get as much learning experience as possible.
Yeah.
Most trainers, myself included, would typically train the dog in front of you and then give you the dog and then work you through it, right? That's what I did before. Issue with that is I would typically work the dog through the problem areas. And then when I gave the owner back the leash, the dog was typically fine. But then during the week, they're like, oh, I didn't know what to do. I had that same problem the dog gave you. They're not a dog trainer, but they also didn't get the experience of working through it, right? So they didn't learn anything there. So that was always like an issue that would come up. COVID happened in 2020. Obviously, social distancing and all that stuff. Nobody wanted me like in their personal space. So then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do pure verbal instruction, where I don't even need to touch the dog or go into the owner's personal space. And it worked out really well. And people loved it so much that I just continued with, I don't need to touch the dog. I would just coach you through it on your own. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you learn a lot more, okay? My employees are probably moving dogs.
Oh, I'm like, what?
Yeah. So class 1, you show up, I'd work you through the healing stuff, right? And then I give you your homework, and you'd rinse and repeat that 3 times a day, 7 days a week, for the week if you can. Then we come back week 2, right? You give me feedback. You're like, oh, Jesse, she's calmer. She's 60% less jumpy, or saying hi to people, whatever. Like, you're gonna note differences. And then what you tell me tells me what I need to do for the second class. Okay, because every case is different. I have to figure it out on the fly. So the second class, we work on the second part of heel. Okay, and we might tweak the number a little bit depending on what you tell me. And then I go rinse and repeat. You come back for class 3. How are we doing? Oh, Jesse, so much different now. Like, she's a 180 from what she used to be before. Or you might say, she's doing great, but she's struggling when people walk too close. So then I could facilitate walking in to see if she'll do like the jumping, like when you came in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? And then show you how we would correct those behaviors so that you can begin working on them on your own.
Right.
Okay. So it's like kind of like setting the foundation here, and then you on your own time during the week, you're practicing, and then you're building each class off of each thing that you learned previously. If that makes sense, okay? Let's say by the 4th class, you're feeling very confident, and you're liking what you're seeing and all that stuff. Then the next thing I'd probably recommend is that we work on recall, which is commonly called, okay? So recall takes the longest to teach out of all the commands, which is why I try to teach it as early as possible. And then I give you your homework, you go off and rinse and repeat. Recall could take upwards of 6 months, by the way, to get fully off-leash reliable. So we're not getting it off-leash reliable in the class. I'm teaching you how to do it, and I tell you how to practice it, and you just go and practice and practice and practice and practice. Clients will always ask, like, how do I know when my dog is ready? And I'll tell them you'll know because it's intuitive, right? If you don't trust your dog off leash, then you're not ready.
Yeah.
You would continue practicing. And eventually it's like one day you're just like, oh, my dog's great. And you literally just like take the leash off. In other cases, clients may want me to be there when they first have their dog off leash for the first time. So I go with them and then I show them how to do everything, correctly. So that's also a possibility.
Okay.
But the recall stuff is fairly intuitive, okay?
Okay.
The next thing we'd cover is most likely place command. So if you look in the TV there in the top right screen, you can see little dog beds.
Yeah.
On the top right, there's one dog there. They're doing what we call duration work.
Yeah.
Which is when they're on the bed and they're doing nothing, just hanging out, chilling, right? That's what would be our foundation for like wanting to take her to restaurants.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's pretty good with that. We do like Matt.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's really good with it.
How long will she hold it for?
Well, like we do it at school, and
Okay.
that is harder because she wants to get
them up.
up all the
Yeah.
time. But if I do it at home, I mean, she can stay there.
For a good while.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
20 minutes or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it would be similar, where we want extended length of time, but it would be like in an environment like at a restaurant or like when friends come over, when you have active distractions.
Yeah.
That she's still
Yeah.
capable of holding the behavior. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see here how like this is a challenge for her, right? So this is because I can only do so much with what we have currently, right? In terms of getting her to calm down. With the remote collar, it's much easier because we actively have a bite. So if you look at my hand here, when you see me touching her, if you notice, I'm kind of pointing my fingers, right? That's meant to mimic a dog bite to the best that I can. Right? There we go. But you see how she's keeping her paw here? This is intentional. Okay? Her keeping her paw on the leash is intentional because she wants to take back the control, if you notice that. So when I pull away, one paw left, and then she right away went to the other paw to grab the leash. But her intensity right now is above what I can do with the tools that we have, right? If you had a prong collar, it would be a little bit better because then I have the active bite from the prong. But with the martingale, this is just a blunt, flat surface. It doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
Okay. And all this stuff is normal. All this stuff is overstimulation. This is frustration. She doesn't like being made to sit still, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's causing this anxiety
And I feel
here.
like she's distracted and wants to
Yeah.
go over there.
Yeah.
See
So
what's
her
going
paw
on.
coming up here isn't like by chance. It's intentional.
Yeah.
Okay. Question on any of that stuff?
No, just a general question. You know, with the e-collar, do you feel like you kind of get progress to where you don't need to use it as much as time goes on, like after a year or so, like where they kind of understand what's being asked of them without having to use it? Or
Very good question. Yes, right. So in the beginning, there's going to be a lot of application of the collar because we're chaining, we're shaping, we're establishing rules, boundaries, all that stuff, right? We also have to think that, how old's your dog?
1 year.
1 year?
Yeah.
And you've had her for how long?
Since she was like 8 months.
8 months?
Or
Oh,
8
no.
weeks, sorry.
8 weeks,
8
sorry,
weeks.
sorry. So for 10 months,
Yeah.
she's gotten away with these behaviors, right? So we're working against 10 months of habit, which isn't bad. I get dogs that are like 6 years old, and there's like 6 years of bad habits, right?
Yeah.
But if you're doing the training and following with my instructions, yes, the application becomes less and less and less. If you find yourself using the collar regularly, that tells me you're too low on the number, which is usually what gets people.
Okay, right.
Because so I don't want the dog yipping and rolling in pain, but I do need the dog to respect what we're doing, right? So let's say our collars go to 127. Let's say her number is 65, okay? And we find that 65, she's doing great. And then you decide, you know what? I'm gonna go to 40 now, right? Because I don't wanna be at 65 anymore, because I feel like it's too much. And then she learns, oh, we're at 40 now. We're not at 65. You're gonna see her press boundaries again.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't care about 40. She cares about 65. Okay? But that's what gets people. So I can always tell when they've adjusted the number too low or something, because they'll usually complain with like, oh, like my dog's not healing as well or whatever, or my dog's being reactive again, right? All these things will happen. And the first thing I ask is, well, what's your number now? And always it's this lower number.
They've lowered it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're doing everything correctly and then also following the instructions at the correct level, you should get to a point where your collar application of it is at a 0, right? Where you're like, Jesse, you can't remember the last time you even had to use this thing. The next question kind of that goes from that is most people ask is, when does the e-collar go away? Okay. In my book, when you need it, it doesn't. So that means if you're gonna go for a walk, you need it. You're gonna go to a restaurant, you need it. Guests coming over, you need it. She's gonna be off leash at the park, you need it. Is she a great dog in the house? You don't need it, okay? It's not because of my skills as a trainer, it's because of what's called opportunistic behavior. You guys drive? Go to the expressway?
Sure.
Do you go speed limit?
At first. You got to get to the speed limit before you
I'm always
speed.
late, so.
But yeah.
You see
Yeah,
a spot-
if you have an opportunity, you'll take it.
Correct.
So yeah, and dogs will do the same thing.
Exactly. So I like to think of the e-collar as a cop on a collar, right? When it's present, the dog's going to behave accordingly because they understand there's still a consequence. Okay.
Yeah.
So this isn't. I know when we talk about like with dog training, what I don't like about the word dog training is training implies it at some point is over, right? Because as a human, you could receive training for something, and then when you're done with the training, you could turn around and at will call that skill. Right? Like
Yeah.
learning how to play guitar, learning how to play piano, learning how to drive a car, right?
Right.
That all took training. So for dogs, it's similar. They learn the skill, except that unless you can make them do it and or reinforce the behavior, why should they?
Yeah.
Right? Dogs have free will, just like humans do. You know?
Yeah.
So that e-collar, right, is a consequence. So if she's like, oh, that e-collar's on, and I know you will press it at 65, she's not going to question you. Right? She's going to be consistent. But the moment we become inconsistent, now the dog is inconsistent, right? So it's, for example, and then also most people don't train their dogs as much as like a dog trainer would. So my pit Lexi, I got her when she was 3 months. I'm her 4th owner, by the way. So in 1 month of leaving the breeder, from 2 months to 3 months, she just terrorized 3 different homes. Okay, she's a very confident female pitty.
Right.
Then I got one of my clients who gave her to me because I was looking for a pit, and she's like the Caesar Milan dog, blue, silver, gray hair with the white blaze and the white toes, right? Beautiful dog. But she was a handful. And the first 2 years of her life, she was with me all the time, and we were training all the time because I'm a dog trainer, right? And now she's 16 now. Without the collar, if I have her out, I would say she's probably around 80% reliable, which is pretty good. Okay, most people don't put that much time like that I put in the first 2 years of her life, right? Most people, it's like training when you have the extra time, training when you have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I try to remind people, like, yes, your dog's being trained, but you got to think like, how much are you using it? How often are you using it? How consistent are you in reinforcing it to the standard that it's supposed to be? All those things impact reliability. Okay, but if you press the button at the number that she needs consistently all the time, and you're reinforcing all the time, and you're being very strict, she's going to learn. You're very strict. There are no exceptions, and she's going to give you way more reliability.
Yeah.
Okay. Every now and then, maybe you're at the park, and a squirrel were to run by, and she had prey drive, and they caught her off guard. And maybe she chases the squirrel, right? Okay. Maybe I have to use the collar there, but it's like one moment out of like months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, as long as you're following the instructions, you shouldn't be stuck with using the remote all the time. Whenever a client's like, oh, my walks are so much better, I only use the button like 5 times. I'm like, that's 5 times too many. You're too low in the collar. Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if, well, let's say you take her out and there's something that causes her to go or jump or all that, At what point is it too late to correct? Do you have to get it right away?
Nope. You have a much bigger window than you think.
Okay.
Yes, as long as the dog is still in the thought of the behavior. So like, let's say she jumps, right? Maybe the remote's in your pocket.
Yeah.
And you're going to get the remote out of your pocket, but she has stopped jumping, but you still see her like this.
Yeah.
Right? That same excited, stimulated state, you can still correct.
Okay.
Now, you didn't correct the jumping, but you corrected the excitement.
Yeah.
And what is the root of the jumping?
The excitement.
The excitement.
Yeah,
So
right.
you technically still corrected the behavior,
Oh,
right?
not the reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The behavior, the reaction is the symptom of the problem,
Yeah.
right? This here, the problem is overstimulation, right? All this nonsense here is overstimulation.
Yes.
Yes.
This is the hard. Yeah.
Yes.
She just wants to.
Once you address that, all of a sudden, don't care about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is easy.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
difficult because here we don't have the right tool.
Right.
But
This is just a
E-collar is a
can't run
game
away.
changer. Like so many
Okay.
people do e-collar, like, oh my God, like why would anyone not train their dog with it?
Okay.
You know? When done correctly, of
Yeah.
course. Other questions?
I have other than this.
Yeah.
She's
other than what
pretty
you just
well
saw,
behaved. Like
really, that's
in the house, she doesn't chew on things.
Okay.
When she was a little puppy, you know, with the puppy teeth. But as far as indoor, she's really good. And with people she knows, well, and if a guest comes over,
Yeah.
that's like so. Indoor and outdoor training, or as far as controlling excitement, they're going to be exactly the same. There isn't a nuance between the two, right? What's to be expected indoors is what's to be expected outdoor. So
Yeah.
if we were doing e-collar, we would just make sure that at whenever that time is, or whenever that opportunity is going where she'd need it, then we do it there. Can't get lazy in the house, but outside.
Yes,
So I don't want to
correct.
send her mixed signals as
Yes,
far as
that's-
environment.
That's a very good point. So you make a good dog trainer. Because you're putting a lot of things together that people don't put together, right? So most people tend to think of control outside, right? Because that's where we walk the dog,
Yeah.
that's where we let them off leash and all that stuff. But if a dog spends most of the time inside the home, right? And they do whatever they want inside the home all the time,
Yeah.
they're getting conditioned or they're learning to just like, oh, I do whatever I want. And then we go outside and it's these very kind of minute, specific situations where it's like, well, now I need you to listen to me. But I'm like, but if the dog's doing whatever they want the rest of the day,
Yeah, they're
then that's what they're learning. So once you start to practice control, and it's not like she's always under command in the home, but you are at some points establishing command, right?
Right.
If she starts to learn like, okay, sometimes you're gonna tell me to do something and I have to do it for as long as you want me to do it for. So then in the future, she's at the park, you know, and she's misbehaving and you go, well, I disagree with that. She's going to respond because she's used to you telling her what to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Everybody, they think giving the dog the best life is allowing them to do whatever they want all the time, but then have problems when it's like, well, now I want the dog to not lunge at that dog. I go, right, but if the dog can pee on that tree, you know, chew on those sticks, jump on you, and those are all decisions.
Yeah.
And then the barking at a dog is also a decision.
Yeah.
So you can't say no to that if you've not been saying no to anything else.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So once you start to become more strict and put boundaries on things, even things that seem like to like not have any meaning, they do have meaning, because then in a more serious scenario, when I tell the dog to stop, they're gonna stop.
Yeah.
Okay?
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's all about consistency. The other thing about dogs that works against people is that like we tend to get dogs for companionship, right? But friends don't tell friends what to do. So your dog needs to view you as a leader.
Yeah. You have to
Right.
be the alpha.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they'll be the alpha.
Correct. The authority figure, right?
Right.
And it's not that you can't do sweet or affectionate things with your dog, but if you do that most of the time, then they're not going to take you serious. Then when you're telling them like, well, stop, you know, jumping on people or stop, you know, being overstimulated or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just like a different way of thinking. But once you understand it, it makes complete sense, and that's like where all the real progress starts to come. Okay.
Gotcha.
If you didn't have this, or if she didn't have this kind of level of overstimulation, like you could get away with a lot of stuff. Like I get clients that do like all the wrong things in my book, right? But their
Yeah.
dog's like a friendly dog, chill dog, like they just need the dog to be obedient. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like they could do everything wrong, like everything's fine. But then when you get a dog like this, it's like, okay, well now they just compound on each other, and it just feels like worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know you had mentioned that you looked at the website, you saw the daycare, you saw the board and trains, and then of course the in-person training. Was there anything in particular you were leaning towards?
Yeah, I think just probably the one-on-one training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I almost always recommend. You learn so much more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the board and train, it's nice because I get more done in a shorter amount of time. But I already know like how to work a dog like this. I already know how to work through all the problem areas and how to create calmness. Those are things that you'd have to learn how to do.
Yeah.
In terms of length of time that I'd recommend, I'd probably put, because we have 3, 6, 9, and 12-week programs. Based off what I'm hearing so far, I'd probably put you at around 9. Okay. 12 would be if like you wanted a fully off-leash trained dog, then I would suggest the 12. But if you're like, I just want to walk her in peace, be able to take her to restaurants, and then have her be off leash to go play at the park, or if you decide to take her to a dog park to have that ability, we can get that done. The other classes, so it's 2 on heel, 1 on like the corrective behavior stuff, 1 on place command, which is stationary, 1 on recall, and then just kind of pushing the behaviors and learning how to be able to control and de-escalate her. Okay. If we're getting a lot of stuff done and you're doing really good about doing your homework, I take you even further, right? So everything's contingent on how much you put into it. I'm a very good trainer. I've worked with some very, very difficult dogs. But we only made progress because the owners were doing a good job about like following through and doing all the necessary
Being
things.
consistent, yeah.
Yes. You know, someone could pay for 12 classes and at the end of the program, like have a misbehaved dog. And I'm like, well, it's because you're too low on the collar. You don't want to remote the dog, you know, and it's something that will bring up time and time again. Most people get over it. Most people are like, okay, like, you know, I got to just bite the bullet and get it done. But everybody who from the get-go is like, nope, let's get it done. Like we make strides in the training. Okay.
Yeah.
40, 50 pounds?
40.
Yeah.
I think last week we were about 40.
Real quick, we got a delivery going on right now. So the collar I'd recommend is most likely the black edition. Tina would send you the information on this. Hello, how you doing, sir?
Thank you.
Just this one?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, have a good day. The black edition is meant for a 70-pound dog and over.
Okay.
Okay. You just saw me 30 seconds ago. I'll take her for you. Okay.
She likes you, I guess.
A lot of energy.
The black edition is meant for a 70-pound dog and over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfectly safe to use on a dog like this.
Okay.
I could put on my 8-pound Chihuahua, perfectly safe. It just means more from less. Okay. Because it's meant for a high-powered dog, a larger dog, the output is greater.
Right.
So if you get a lower powered collar, your number could be, you know.
It'll be higher.
Exactly. Okay. So when we go with the higher powered one, it just gives us more wiggle room. I can't predict what her number is going to be, but I've had it happen in the past where like a client will opt for like a lower powered collar, and then their dog will override it or be very high on the numbers. And I'm like, well, that leaves us like very little wiggle room in case there's an emergency.
Right.
And now they're having to purchase a whole second new system. So I'm like, just from the beginning, just get the best high-powered collar system there is. It's only like $50 more than the collar below it. And then I go, we don't really have to worry about anything. Okay.
Yeah.
So her number could be very high because of this level of stimulation.
Yeah.
Okay. In the beginning, not uncommon that the number is higher, but then over time it could drop as they get calmer, as they become more aware, as she's more in control of her emotions. Like right now, like I walked away and came back, rah, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, all right, that's a lot. So once she learns how to simmer all that stuff down, now the brain becomes more sensitive and may have a lower number. Okay. Every case is different. I help you, of course, figure all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Tina will send you the information for the collar.
Sure.
I sell them here as well. I don't care where you get them from, but I do care that you get the correct system.
Okay.
If you get it through us, it is 10% off. And as FYI for you, for all our training clients, daycare clients and stuff like that, they do get 10% off all our retail, from toys to treats to food and stuff. So if there's anything you need for your dog, that's a nice little perk that you get as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me think here. So yeah, the length of time I recommend is 9. If you want to do more, you can. If you did less, like if you did 6 or something, I'm really bare bonesing it. Okay, I'm coming going like, okay, if I only have you for 6 classes, I'm gonna focus on the really important stuff. But then if there's anything that we don't get to, you then have to purchase more classes. It is more expensive if you do 6 and then add 3, because we don't prorate programs. Okay, if you do 9 up front, it is cheaper per class because you're saying, oh, we're just going to commit to the 9. Okay, if you do 12, it's also cheaper per class because you're going, we want the whole 9 yards. You know, we want to do 12 classes, but 9 is about the minimum that I recommend.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the classes, so they're not, are they every week, or you said, or like, do we get time if you were like, oh, we need to work on this for like 2 weeks? Or something
sometimes that
between,
does happen.
You know, like
for you, most likely it's going to be very straightforward.
Like 9 weeks, just
possibly
and done with. Okay.
Towards the, I would say class 7 or maybe 8, we might have covered everything, and I'll go, okay, now I'll go and practice. Because these things stack, right? It's like you got to do the leash walking, you got to do the recall exercise, you got to do the place command, you got to do the behavior stuff, right? It becomes a lot of homework. So then you need time to practice stuff.
Right.
So then let's say it's class 7, I'll go, you know, come back when you're ready for your next class. It could be 2 months, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 6 months, it could be the next year. Like that's, I've had that happen where I'll train a client in the summer of 1 year, and they'll come back the next year, and then they'll finish off the rest of their program.
Oh, okay. So it's not if you miss this one, then
no.
it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, so
now
it's
if you don't
just
show
9.
up, then it's gonna.
Well, yeah, that's different.
class.
But yeah, so it could be work on it a little bit more and come back next week. Yeah.
But expect the first probably 3/4 of the program to be fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
Unless like I have something coming up, I have my son now or my wife, and sometimes we have family things come up, and I'll tell the client, don't worry about it, it just gives you an extra week to practice or what have you. Okay. If there's anything that they come across that maybe I wasn't expecting to see, then I'll tell you, okay, take a couple of weeks to go work on something. It's more common when I'm dealing with like reactive dogs.
Yeah.
Where, you know, we'll do the baseline stuff, and then the owner will be struggling with reactivity. So then we'll cover the reactivity, and I'll tell them we're not going to have the next class until we get this done, because it's just going to be wasting class after class until if we're not fixing the reactivity. So in some cases it'll be 3 weeks later, and then we'll get the reactivity done. I'm like, okay, now come back for your 4th class or whatever.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this not reactivity? Like
it's reactivity, but like
there's more anxiety, or what
the issue is to me, this is most likely frustration-based reactivity.
Okay.
Right? So she's overstimulated, she cannot relax. She's also becoming anxious. That's putting her over threshold.
Okay.
And then she sees a dog, and she's already overwhelmed, she's already overstimulated, she's already stressed out, and then we add another stressor, and then you're seeing the reactive behavior.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, reactivity isn't the problem, it's the symptom of the problem. Once we get the brain to focus and calm down, that's why I was like earlier, like you're my feedback, right? So if you're like, hey Jesse, her reactivity, her barking or whatever when she sees a dog has like dropped like 50%. I go, great, we fixed 50% of the problem. Now we just got to figure out the next 50%.
The last 50, yeah. You gotcha.
In the rare case, I've had it happen. Let's say she's more reactive than I thought, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. We'll gradually, so we don't just go to like 127. We start low, we will work our way up until we find the number.
Right.
But it ties back to earlier when I said I've had dogs where it's like 127 is the number. You know, and I'll tell the client anytime the dog's reactive, you have to correct them at 127. You know, and there's going to be yipping and yelping there because it sucks. It's a harsh correction, right?
Yeah.
But that's where people tend to struggle. The people that don't have an issue with it and just follow the instructions, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. Yeah, it sucked for a bit, but now that I committed to it for a couple of weeks and the dog knows, the reactivity is done.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's like super, super, super rare that I get something like that. Most dogs, we get it done within the reasonable range. Otherwise, obedience-wise, I'm not worried about that. Obedience is easy. It's pretty straightforward as long as you're doing your exercises. The behavior stuff is where there's variable, right? Because you can only work on things when you have the opportunity,
right?
You can only work on reactivity when you see the reactivity. Now that things are getting a little bit warmer, you know, that'll make things easier. For my clients that were training over the winter, now they're getting, it's tough because it's cold.
It's cold, there's not everybody out, it's not like you really get to get out where things are happening, so.
Yes, and at this time of year, I train here in my facility. This is the space that we use. Once things get warm enough and we're past like the rainy part of spring, I do move over to Oz Park, and I train outside at Oz Park. Where you train doesn't matter. we're going to get it done regardless if we train inside my facility or if we train at Oz Park. It's just nice for clients that they get to have me teaching them real time in a distracting environment.
Yeah.
Is the only difference.
Right.
Okay? A lot of the stuff is common sense. I'll explain it to you. I'll give you your exercises, right? And then you go off and apply it. If there's anything that you're having difficulty with, as long as we can recreate it, I will recreate the situation in class so that we can work through it in a controlled context so that you can take it and then apply it out in the world, okay?
Gotcha.
Otherwise, where we train doesn't matter whether you want to wait till spring, late spring for Oz Park or if you start here and then we just simply move to Oz Park towards the later half of the program, okay?
Okay.
Because I'm assuming we're probably going to go into that season
Yeah.
with a 9-week program.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Other questions?
You? So verbal commands versus your reinforcement. I guess are you supposed to do verbal and then same time, or you do this and say it after?
Oh.
So, you know what I mean?
So
what's
initially,
ideal?
when we're conditioning, there are no words.
Right.
We shape everything through the collar.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Once we've shaped it, so like for example, let's say I want to send her to her bed, place command, right?
Yeah.
With no words, if I press the button, she should go there. That's how I condition. So I shape the behavior first. Once I see that, then I go, okay, the dog understands that this means go there, right? Then I layer a word on it. So then we start tying place, the cue of place, to this cue, right? So now they get synced together. Then, once she has a full concept of what place is, if I say place and she responds like that, there is no remote. If I say place and she delays,
Then there's.
yes.
Okay, I got
Right?
you. Yeah.
So this is what I talked about earlier with the delay.
Yeah.
If I say place and I wait 5 seconds and then I
Then
remote,
do it.
you're gonna get a 5
She's
second
already.
delay.
She's already has at that point. She's already disassociating what you said with. It's almost doesn't have to be. Is that why? Because like if you say something, she doesn't do it, and you wait, then do it. She's not relating.
She'll still relate.
Uh-huh.
At least in this way of training, she'll still connect the dots. It's that she won't respond until 5 seconds after, because that's when she's expecting the stim to happen.
Yeah.
But if I say place and then a quarter to half a second later, if she doesn't respond, I stim. Now I'm creating a quarter to half a second response, because the dog wants to beat the punch.
Yeah.
Right? So everybody wants to give the dog the opportunity to avoid the collar. So they'll give the command and they'll delay on the collar, right? And then they wonder why the dog doesn't respond right away.
Because it doesn't have to.
Yes, right? They know there's a
gonna
delay.
wait. They know it's.
I was raised old school. I was raised, I'm going to tell you once, I'm not going to tell you again.
Yeah.
Right? So then once I got that first consequence, where I was like, oh, okay, like if mom says wash the dishes, I just wash the dishes, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of the same thing for dogs. So I give the command, I give them a small window, and if they don't respond within the window, I give the reinforcement or the correction,
Yeah.
right? And I continue until they perform the task. So now the dog learns, if I respond faster than you can press the button, I avoid the button.
Yeah.
So now we get a dog that just responds on cue.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, it's how people tend to think and how they feel, and they want to give the dog the chance, but it works against us.
Yeah.
You know,
they want to give it a treat by turning the
exactly.
down.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm hurt, but okay, I'll reward you by doing it. The dog's just going to take advantage of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. 100% true with dogs.
True.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah. Once you understand it's a dog and it's you just are very black and white about things, you'll be surprised as like how much progress they make, because it's very clear, right? Humans tend to create gray area.
Yeah. A lot of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So even with humans amongst humans creating gray area, like it makes things complicated. You know, I'm sure there's people that have met me that don't like me, but I'm very black and white. I don't bullshit anybody.
Yeah.
I'm very transparent. Like, here's the truth. You don't like it? Well, sorry. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. You know, it's like that with in the dog training world, where there's just this gray area. And then, I'm just like, I come in and the clients are like, yeah, Jesse had to do some stuff and correct my dog and maybe correct him harshly, but he was very blunt about it. But my dog's like so much better, or like the dog I had this morning was going to be euthanized. The vet suggested the dog be euthanized. Another trainer suggested the dog be euthanized. And today we had our 10th class. We were there with her parents. It was me, the husband, the wife, the dog, and the mom, the wife's parents. And the dog used to go after the parents. And now they've been staying over the past couple of days. Like, Jesse, it's like night and day that we can have our parents here and like not worry about our dog, But we've had to do a lot of stuff that looked bad and they struggled with. but they were like, okay. And then when they saw the progress, they're like, holy crap, like I see why we did what we did. Yeah. You know, I'm not gonna make things look, how'd you say, like rainbows and treats, you know, because that's for your business. That's because people want your money.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many times where people pay all this money and then leave with no results.
Yeah.
But it looked good.
Right.
Right,
Or
it
they,
made you
just because
feel
they did
good.
something right one time, it's like, oh yeah, problem's fixed. It's not that.
No,
It's
we need consistency.
Yes.
We need day by day. I need you to come back and go like, man, Jesse, like this is a game changer for me. Like I feel so much better. My dog, I love walking my dog out. And that's the next thing too, is like, once you get this addressed, like you do more with your dog. Mm-hmm. Right? You you want to go out with your dog now, whereas like this is a chore.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's why I'm here. I want in the summer. I want to be able to
do stuff. Yes. Yeah. And it's all within reason. It's all possible,
yeah.
but it just requires discipline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is all it is.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
Consistent discipline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Other questions?
No, I don't.
I don't think I had any.
so,
No.
yeah.
You explained it very well.
If there's anything you may have forgotten to ask, you can always ask Tina. If they
Okay.
pertain to me, she'll email me. I'll send her the answer.
Okay.
I will be out of town this coming week. Just
Okay.
heads up. So I'm out Wednesday through next Monday, and then I'm back the following weekend to get back to my clients, or whatever. So
Okay.
there'll be a little bit of a delay. If you email her and say, "Hey Tina, sign us up," we'd like to go with the 9 or what have you, and then Jesse had recommended a caller, and if you provide her your schedules, right,
Okay,
that you would both be available. I'm assuming you both want to be a part of the training, correct?
Yeah. Or
I mean,
at minimum, because basically it's her dog. She does most of the walk. I'm kind of like here for support. But
Okay.
But yeah, no, there would definitely try to like be together.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to have the both of you for the
Yeah,
lesson, right?
yeah.
Then you'd give her times you're both available.
Yeah.
She would
Yeah.
cross-reference with my calendar
Okay.
to see what times would work.
Okay.
If one of you doesn't happen to be able to make a class, it's not a big deal. I record the sessions.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I send you the link to your video later on. You don't have to watch them.
Yeah.
They're just simply there for reference.
Yeah.
I get clients who get like a dog walker and they want their dog walker to reinforce their training. So like, oh, can I send them? I go, absolutely. It's your video. Send them the
I
link.
get it. Yes, good idea. Yeah.
So, and then it is a ton of information.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you learned a lot today.
Yeah.
When you do the training, it's even more, right? So there's details that are going to get lost. There's things that you might misinterpret, or things that maybe you misremember, right? You have it there as a
background.
future
reference,
reference.
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So we will reach out to Tina, or she
Either
will
or.
follow up.
So she usually, I usually email her my recommendations.
Okay.
If you want to just kind of speed things up and then just get the ball rolling,
Okay.
you can email her and just let her know, like, we want the 9. Here's our availability. She'll send you a link to a contract, and then read over it. Feel free to ask questions about it.
Okay.
Once that's signed and submitted and stuff like that, then she knows you're serious, and then she gets the booking
Okay.
process started. It is first come first serve. Now that we're getting into the spring weather, now I'm getting all these consults are
Yeah, I
coming
can
through.
imagine, yeah.
So just heads up on that. Otherwise, nothing I've not seen before.
Okay.
This is probably one of the more common issues I deal with is
Sure.
overstimulation, because no one knows how to correct their dog correctly. And then reactivity aggression is like the second thing that I work on like the most.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything
Luckily,
else?
she's not too aggressive.
Yeah.
Or she doesn't bite. Thank God.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, she's also full of excitement, so she expresses how much she loves you by biting you. Though. So no, she's okay. No, no.
Yeah.
This sounds good.
I think makes sense. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you need anything else, you let us know. Otherwise,
Sure.
it was a pleasure meeting the both of you.
Okay.
you.
And then Tino will get you all situated. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Yeah. We look
Very
forward
nice.
to working
So
with
much.
you and
All right,
Likewise.
look forward.
Yeah. I'll grab your mics.
hopefully
Give you
getting
back.
this
You go.
Under control.
dog corrected
Oh yeah.
out of it. Yeah. Thank you.
It's a nice change for me.